This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Vinanz Limited has announced plans to expand its Bitcoin mining operations in Nebraska and Texas with the purchase order for 34 additional Antminer S19K Pros, 120 terahash miners, bringing the Nebraska mining fleet to 100 miners. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Chairman David Lenigas, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, Mark. No, it's been a busy week so far. I rang the bell for the opening of the London Stock Exchange on Monday morning. We had a crowd of about 30 of our trusted advisors and London Stock Exchange people. So it's been a challenging couple of months to get here, but we're here. We've the lawyers and the London Stock Exchange, the FCA, the accountants, the advisors, the brokers. It's been fantastic. So we're now on the big boys' dance floor, and
Yes.
And to be listed on the London Stock Exchange is a privilege.
Well, what was that like? Because I know it's highly regulated, and I think you said you're the first real sole BTC sort of mining operation to be listed on the LSE.
Well, no, not just the LSE. I mean, probably all of Europe. I mean, there are companies in Europe that are exposed to Bitcoin holdings and stuff, but you know, even Argo Blockchain's not regarded as a pure Bitcoin miner. We're the first Bitcoin miner to be listed in the London Stock Exchange and probably all of Europe. That's really exciting. And look, the regulatory regime of being involved in the London Stock Exchange, I think, is good for us. People want to see governance. They want to see proper reporting. They want to see a proper business. And as I said, I think to be listed on the London Stock Exchange is a privilege. There's a lot of chit chat about we won't list on London. We'll just sort of short circuit London and just go straight to the US and NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. But I like the fact we're listed on London.
Yeah, okay, no, it's good. And I mean, it's good for London to get that sort of, as you say, that exposure, let's say, to companies like Vinanz here, of course, in the crypto space. So, I mean, what does it mean now for you as a company now that you are listed? Of course, the news today.
Mark, what it means is we can access all of the world's top fund managers. We can access retail. Pretty much every platform in the world can trade the London Stock Exchange. When we're on Aquis, very few people could trade us at all. And that's not a criticism of Aquis. So they were for a reason. And if it wasn't for Aquis, we wouldn't have been listed in the first place to enable us to uplist to the London Stock Exchange. So we're very grateful of the work that Aquis did with us to see us through our 20-month journey to take us to the London Stock Exchange. But what it really enables us is to access huge capital pools of money from high net worths, from institutional players, not only here, but Asia, Europe, America, and I've raised a lot of institutional money out of America to really grow this platform. And that's why we're listed, is to raise money to grow.
Well, tell us a bit about that plan then. So what is the sort of the vision really, David, and the MO, let's say, of Vinanz?
Well, okay, so we're proudly a Bitcoin miner in North America. And the reason we're North America, Canada and the US is because that's where there's good provenance of miners, of law, of legislation. There's low power costs. America is one of the largest producers of Bitcoin. If you look at Texas, I think I read somewhere the other day, produces 70% of America's Bitcoin. So I think that America and Canada are safe places to run a business. And when I think, when Donald Trump gets into the White House next week, I mean, one of his mantras is drill, baby, drill. And I think we're going to pretty much see the price of energy drop quite significant throughout the United States, which is going to help miners like ourselves. And if there's tax breaks like capital gains tax relief or whatever, which people are talking about, then that could be even better. So our plan is to build out a network of Bitcoin mining clusters throughout the United States. At the moment, we're in Labrador in Canada, which is probably about a third of our mining fleet at the moment. We're in Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, where we announced we've now gone to 100 miners. Texas, we're looking at a number of other states quite quickly now that we've got access to further funds to expand the network. And, it's going to be busy. And if you said to me, Dave, where do you want to be in the Bitcoin mining game in North America in 2 years' time? I would be really pleased if we had sort of 300 to 500 Bitcoin miners in 50 to 55 US and Canadian states, with 30 to 35 independent hosting companies, and be debt free. And that's really sort of our growth mechanism. And Bitcoin, we just want to hold and mine as much Bitcoin as we can. I would rather hold Bitcoin than US dollars or British pounds right now. I think Bitcoin is, in my view, far more stable than global currencies. Global currencies is inflation all over the world. Bitcoin is quite finite, and and I'm in the Bitcoin $1 million club. Whether it's in 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, I can just see Bitcoin going to $1 million. And from our perspective at Vinanz, we want to hold as much Bitcoin as we can.
Okay, as much Bitcoin as you can, mining. So is that how this news fits in today then, with the increasing of the fleet there in Nebraska?
Look, we had our hands tied quite substantially when you do a prospectus. You don't want your business changing whilst you're doing a prospectus, and the prospectus really did take probably 5 solid months of work. And now that the handcuffs are off with respect to growing the business, we're just getting on and growing our mining fleet. And we put in the news release today the operating margins on some of this kit that we're buying. The S19Ks are operating at 30% operating margins. The new hydro super duper high spec stuff, which is in Texas, which we're looking at moving into shortly, I mean, they're punching up around the sort of the 45% operating margins. So and every time we launch into a new cluster within a new state or a new facility, we're always trying to upgrade the fleet. And the nice thing about a rising Bitcoin price is even the miners that we bought a year or 2 years ago are making good margins. So this is all a numbers game. We just need more and more and more and more miners. And I don't want to be one project centric. I don't want to be one state centric. I don't want to be one data center centric. I want to be all over every state, pretty much in the United States and Canada.
Right. Okay. And what would be your message now that you're on the main market? Of course, I think your market makers have gone from about 3 on Aquis there to sort of over 7 now. So you're going to see a lot more liquidity in the stock, a lot more ease of access of people trading. The key thing,
and I've run some big companies and some small and some medium ones all over the world. I mean, what institutions like is they want to see companies that trade lots of liquidity. The market will always look after itself. But, I would rather see a company go up 10 or 20% on millions of shares a day than go up 10 or 20% on 20,000 shares a day, because that's not a real market. The nice thing about the London Stock Exchange and the broad adoption through the market maker system is we should get a lot more liquidity. And we're main board too. We're not standard list like the old days. We're LSE main board. And as I say, it's a real privilege to be there. But this is going to give us a platform for growth, for liquidity, for people to get in, to people to get out, institutions to come in, New York institutions, Asian institutions, British institutions, high net worth and retail. Everybody plays the same game on the London Stock Exchange.
And what would be your sort of message to investors who have perhaps seen that the ticker now on the LSE here, BTC? Why should they maybe consider holding shares in Vinanz? What's the investment case? Okay,
there's a lot of intrigue in England and in Europe, Britain in general, about what is Bitcoin. I mean, I catch taxi drivers like driving around London like a lot of people and elsewhere. They don't understand what Bitcoin is. I mean, if you look at America, 50 million Americans own Bitcoin. There are public servants in America that get paid in Bitcoin. England doesn't understand it yet, but it will, and it won't be left behind. This is one of the great economies of the world. So I see Vinanz's job is an entry point for people who want to understand Bitcoin and crypto to a large degree, but mainly Bitcoin. So you can watch what we do and follow what we do, and we'll teach you, I think, in a very articulate manner, how Bitcoin is important for the future of the world.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on the LSE. So looking forward to seeing, you getting on with getting on effectively, David.
Getting on with getting on, and go Donald Trump.
Indeed. Thank you, David.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.